You want to speak English better,
Yeah.
right? And probably want to get there, without wasting a ton of time.
Exactly. We get it.
And that's what this deep dive is for. We've pulled together some really practical stuff, an article with like 20 methods, info on finding practice partners.
Advice on using podcasts, and importantly, how setting good goals fits into all of this.
Our mission here is basically to pull out the best strategies, the useful resources, so you can actually improve your English speaking pretty efficiently.
Yeah, and hopefully feel less overwhelmed by, all the options out there. We want to give you that clear path forward.
All right, let's dive in. One of the main sources we looked at, this article called 20 Ameni, which means 20 methods for those who don't speak Farsi. It kicks off saying something really key. There's no magic wand for learning English conversation fast.
No quick fix?
But the author, who apparently got fluent in just 2 months after getting perfect scores on 3 international speaking tests, which is pretty impressive.
Wow, yeah.
They believe success comes down to 3 things: quality resources, daily practice with specific techniques, and this seems really important, repeating spoken English out loud.
That last point, repeating aloud, it really stands out. It's not just passive listening.
Right.
You have to actually kind of engage your voice, like learning an instrument, maybe. You practice the motions over and over.
Makes sense, like muscle memory for your mouth.
Exactly that. It builds that physical familiarity with making the sounds and forming the sentences. It really helps build confidence for actual conversations.
Okay, so that active practice is vital, but to make it count, you need a target, right? The 20H article stresses defining your learning objectives.
Yeah, you got to ask yourself why. Why learn English conversation?
Is it for work, planning a trip, maybe prepping for an exam like TOEFL?
And your reason shapes your goals. The article mentions these goals could take months, maybe even years, depending on what they are.
Which brings us to another resource we looked at, the one on goal setting, CHUA show. It introduces the SMART framework.
Ah, yes, SMART goals. Very useful. It stands for specific, measurable, ambitious, realistic, and time-bound.
Let's make that concrete. We saw some examples in the SMART or section, like for vocabulary.
Okay.
A SMART goal might be, by the end of next month, I'll learn 40 key English idioms. Simple, clear.
A measurable, time-bound. Perfect. Or even shorter term. This week, I'll learn 2 synonyms for get, think, and buy.
Exactly. Very trackable.
And they had similar examples for speaking, right? Like planning a conversation exchange.
Yeah. Something like, next month, I'll have a 15-minute chat with my language partner about hobbies, using at least 5 new words we practice.
See, that's specific and measurable. And for writing, maybe setting a goal to write an email to a pen pal by Friday, focusing on, say, past tense accuracy.
And there's even a checklist in the SMART AR part to help you evaluate your own goals.
Asking things like, is it clear? Can you measure it? Will you know when you've actually done it?
Is it stretching you but still doable, given your time, your resources?
Those questions force you to be strategic, not just wishy-washy about learning English.
So important. You need that breakdown into real steps.
Okay, so we've got the goal setting sorted. Now the practical stuff. How do we actually improve the speaking? The 20 article has loads of ideas.
First up, daily basic conversation practice. It mentions 100 free essential English conversation lessons you can just listen to.
That's a great accessible start, just listening daily.
And building on that accessibility idea, it suggests getting a good mobile app for conversation practice.
Right, find one for your level, even absolute beginner, and try listening to maybe 3 or 4 dialogues a day.
And repeating them if possible. It notes there are apps for both Android and iOS, so pretty much everyone's covered.
Easy access.
Okay, now the multimedia stuff. This is interesting. Watching English movies and cartoons.
Yeah, the method here is clever.
It is. First, watch with subtitles in your own language, Persian, in the article's case, just to get the plot.
Understand the story.
Then, watch again, but with English subtitles, connecting the sounds to the words.
Okay.
And finally, try it with no subtitles. Really test your listening.
That gradual reduction of support, it forces your brain to work harder. And hopefully you pick something you actually enjoy watching.
Definitely helps. The article even lists recommended films and cartoons for different levels. It's about active engagement, not just zoning out.
Exactly. Understanding, then connecting sound text, then pure comprehension.
Next, it suggests reading English books aloud, starting simple, like kids' books or stories you already know.
Getting your mouth used to forming the words.
Yeah, and listening to short stories, audio articles too. Easy English novels are a good starting point. Just the act of speaking, even alone, builds confidence.
It does. And moving towards more immersion. The article mentions travel, if possible.
Right. Going to an English-speaking country, or even somewhere like Turkey, where English is common, that full immersion really speeds things up.
But not everyone can do that, of course.
So there's virtual immersion, following English speakers on social media like Instagram or Twitter.
Interact with them.
Yeah, try to chat, maybe make friends, and then practice speaking over Skype or something.
Even if you make mistakes, that's a big one.
Totally. The article stresses getting over that fear of imperfection. Mistakes are part of learning.
Absolutely critical. Don't let fear stop you from actually doing it.
The 20 Shoke article also has these really down-to-earth tips for just weaving English into your day.
Like what?
Simple things: writing your grocery list in English, switching TV subtitles to English, keeping a diary in English.
Oh, interesting. Translating billboards, you see.
Yeah, stuff like that. Small, consistent habits that add up.
Making it part of your life, not just study time.
And music. Listening to English music helps with pronunciation, picking up words.
Fun way to learn.
It suggests slower songs at first, and even just having English music on in the background can help tune your ear. Passive listening still has value.
Definitely. And for more focused listening, TED Talks come up.
Right. Good for hearing natural, conversational English. Even if it's a prepared talk, it usually sounds quite natural.
And the suggested method is layered again.
Yep. Watch with native subtitles, then English subtitles, then none. The idea is you might even start subconsciously using phrases you hear.
That would be cool. Your brain just soaking it up.
The article also mentions using websites with simple language on practical topics. Read aloud, then try summarizing it out loud, maybe in front of a mirror.
Ooh, summarizing. That forces active processing. And the mirror helps with, confidence and presence.
Exactly. Good for both comprehension and fluency practice.
And for those who like structure.
It briefly mentions English classes, sure, and reminds us about those free, downloadable conversation clips. Plus, again, reading novels aloud is a good, enjoyable method.
Variety is key, isn't it? Keep things fresh.
Okay, let's shift to listening specifically to radio and podcasts. The 20U article recommends BBC podcasts for learners.
High quality, often with transcripts. Good resource. Though it notes you might need a VPN sometimes.
Right. And then we have this other article, 33 Asus Essentia, 33 the best podcasts. This one really goes deep into the podcast world for learners.
And podcasts are super accessible, right? Phone, laptop, internet, that's all you need.
Exactly. And this article helpfully breaks them down by level. For beginners,
What do they suggest?
things like Learn English by British Council with transcripts, quizzes, Voice of America, slower pace, Coffee Break English, Essential English Beginners, English short stories for beginners, often with transcripts too, and English Class 101. Lots to start with.
That's a solid list for beginners. What about intermediate?
For intermediate, it suggests BBC's 6-minute English everyday topics, transcripts, vocab lists, podcasts in English, short episodes, worksheets, and one called English Learning for Curious Minds.
That sounds interesting. And for advanced learners?
More BBC. The English We Speak focuses on idioms, phrases, has exercises. Then more natural listening like This American Life for culture and native speed. Also, Unsolved Murders. True crime stories, maybe for specific vocab. CNN Political Briefing for news. Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend for humor.
Quite a range.
Yeah. The Past and the Curious for history, overheard at National Geographic for nature, often with transcripts, BBC Learning English Drama, and The School of Greatness for personal development.
Wow, so many options. It really shows how much free audio content is out there.
But the podcast article makes a crucial point, doesn't it?
Yes, you need to use what you learn. Listening isn't enough on its own.
Right. It suggests maybe conversation classes to actually practice the language you're hearing. Active engagement is key.
Which leads perfectly into finding people to practice with. Conversation partners.
Both the 20-year and the 30-inch 30 websites and apps articles stress how vital this is.
Practicing with patient partners helps pronunciation, listening, speaking confidence, everything.
They suggest looking for local language exchange meetups if you can.
But online is probably easier for most people. And that 30 websites and apps article lists a ton of platforms.
Yeah, things like Conversation Exchange, Tandem, My Language Exchange, Speaky, High Native, Polyglot Club.
Hello Talk Bilingua, The Mixer, Easy Language Exchange. Goes on. Papora, Lingo Globe, Scrabble.
Tongueout.net too. The advice is try a few, see what clicks for you.
And it specifically mentions the Zeb and Sheena's forum.
Yes, as a good place for discussion, challenges, finding partners, even getting some instructor support.
Also, Reddit communities for language learning are mentioned as a place to find partners.
Right. It's a bit cautious about generic chat sites, but says InterPals might be okay for finding native speakers.
And then there's the paid option, online tutors.
Briefly mentioned, yeah, platforms like Preply, Magoosh, italki, Cambly for structured practice, but that does cost money.
The main message, though, seems to be brave, try to enjoy it, don't fear mistakes.
And be fair with time and exchanges. Make sure both partners get practice.
So once you are speaking, how do you refine it? Pronunciation, speaking habits?
The 20 Gene article highlights pronunciation's importance for clear communication. It even suggests thinking about which accent you want to aim for.
Practical tips for improving.
Practicing aloud in front of a mirror, see your mouth move. Recording yourself, hear your own weak spots. Learning common idioms and chat abbreviations, too. And just trying to describe everyday things around you in English.
Like narrating your day.
Kind of. And for a bigger challenge, maybe start an English blog. It's all about actively producing English.
Makes sense. And finally, grammar. We didn't focus on it,
Yeah.
but it's relevant, right?
Yeah, the resources 20 Gian acknowledge that basic grammar is helpful even for conversation.
You don't need to be an expert, but a foundation helps.
Exactly. It helps with sentence structure, confidence. The articles mention online resources for grammar and common errors to watch out for. It's about balance, focus on speaking, but don't ignore grammar entirely.
Got it. It supports the speaking.
So that's a whole lot of strategies and resources. Hopefully people listening feel like they have some concrete things they can try.
Yeah, the key really seems to be consistent effort, using a mix of these methods.
From the SMART goals and the apps to the movies, the podcasts, finding partners, practicing aloud, it all adds up.
Definitely. It's about finding what works for you and sticking with it.
So as we wrap up, maybe something for you, the listener, to think about. Which of these ideas actually resonates most with how you learn best or fits your life right now?
And maybe. What's one small thing, just one action you could take, maybe even today, right after this, to start moving towards that goal of speaking English more confidently?
Yeah, think about that. How could setting just one clear, SMART goal change things for you? What's your first step?